In 1864, Captain Raphael Semmes wrote about passing from the deep blue water into a patch of water, so light it startled him. For crews who often firmly believed in sea monsters and mermaids, gliding through a milky sea for hours must have been utterly terrifying. Also called Muriel, the Milky Sea is caused by bioluminescent bacteria, billions of trillions of them that live throughout the water column from surface to the seafloor. Mesmerized sailors in the 1800s had absolutely no idea what was causing the effect, but were pretty sure it was something sinister. They described it as looking like milk or clouds from horizon to horizon, flowing through a molten lid or sailing on a field of snow. Our understanding now is a little deeper, but how it happens and why is still a bit of mystery. There are other magical ocean effects, including the red tide around Florida and algal bloom all over the world's oceans, and there is still so much to discover. So, in this video, we will talk about such unique natural phenomena. Algal bloom. An algal bloom or marine bloom or water bloom is a rapid increase in the population of algae in aquatic system. Algal blooms may occur in fresh water as well as marine environments. Typically, only one or a few phytoplankton species are involved, and some blooms may be recognized by discoloration of the water resulting from the high density of pigmented cells. Algal bloom concentrations may reach millions of cells per milliliter. Colors observed are green, yellowish-brown, or red. Some algal blooms are the result of an excess of nutrients into waters, and higher concentrations of these nutrients in water cause increased growth of algae and green plants. As more algae and plants grow, others die. This dead organic matter becomes food for bacteria that decompose it. With more food available, the bacteria increase in number and use up the dissolved oxygen in the water. When the dissolved oxygen content decreases, many fish and aquatic insects cannot survive. This results in a dead area. Algal blooms may also be one of concern, as some species of algae produce neurotoxins. At the high cell concentrations reached during some blooms, these toxins may have severe biological impacts on wildlife. Landslides. A landslide is defined as the movement of mass of rock, debris, or earth down a slope. The term landslide encompasses 5 models of slope movement: falls, topples, slides, spreads, and flows. Almost every landslide has multiple causes. Slope movement occurs when forces acting downslope exceed the strength of the earth materials that compose the slope. Causes include factors that increase the effect of downslope forces and factors that contribute to low or reduced strength. Landslides can be initiated in slopes already on the verge of movement by rainfall, snowmelt, changes in water level, stream erosion, changes in groundwater, earthquakes, volcanic activity, disturbance by human activities, or any combination of these factors. Frozen iguanas. In Florida, as temperatures dropped to unusually low levels for the region overnight, iguanas were found frozen. Iguanas, as it turns out, are susceptible to freezing once temperatures to drop around 40 Fahrenheit. When frozen, these cold-blooded creatures lose their grip on the cozy trees they call home and slip. But the experts inform the public to be aware that the chilled reptiles may be stiff and appear lifeless, but they are not dead. The public was alerted on Twitter to the increased likelihood of the falling iguanas. It's recommended not touching frozen iguanas, as they may thaw unexpectedly and feel threatened if a person comes close to them. Like any wild animal, it will try to defend itself. Ice tsunami. Until it melts, ice often stays put where it forms. Under certain conditions, though, it goes on an adventure, advancing over land. It might plot or rush over sand, grass, and asphalt, or even seem to leap from the water like sharp, shiny salmon. This phenomenon, sometimes called an ice tsunami, is also known as ice shelf or an ice bush. It happens when there is a perfect storm of factors, including fierce winds, loose ice, and a gently sloping shore. Frozen methane bubbles. Beautiful, aren't they? But these ethereal blue orbs found in Canada's frozen Lake Abraham have a dark side. Although produced by natural process, the alluring ice-encased bubbles enclose a dangerous greenhouse gas and are therefore a threat to the planet. The story of how the bubbles come into being is far from appealing, and as with many a horror story, it starts with dead bodies. Microbes feeding on decomposing organic matter at the bottom of the lake release methane, which floats to the surface in bubbles. When the water freezes in winter, these bubbles become trapped, producing magical landscapes. But come the spring, though, the bubbles pop, releasing the methane within them to the atmosphere. Methane is highly flammable, and so the bubbles explode when set alight. Its real danger lies in its impact on Earth's temperature. Although methane doesn't stick around in the atmosphere like carbon dioxide, its heat-trapping effect is 34 times stronger and making it potentially far more detrimental to our climate. Spider rain. Millions of spiders dropped from the sky, blanketing the countryside with their webs. They fly through the sky, and then we see these falls of spider webs that look almost as if it's snowing. Though many news reports have called them babies, the spiders are actually just very, very small adults called sheet web weavers or money spiders. It's unclear what spurs these spiders take the skies in what are called mass ballooning events. But once they do, millions crawl to the highest points of their habitat, say a fence pole or a tall plant, and send out silk strands that allow them to be lifted on air currents. It's like a reverse parachute effect. The vast majority of this aerial plankton will die during the journey, eaten by predators or killed by harsh weather conditions. Thanks to this impressive feat, spiders tend to be the first creatures to recolonize an area that has been completely destroyed. Such ballooning events aren't unique to Australia. They also occur in the United States and Britain. Lake Nyos. August 21, 1986 was a busy market day in the village of Lower Nyos, and that evening most people went to bed early. The next morning, some 1,700 people and 3,000 domestic animals were discovered lying dead on the ground. Nobody could explain what happened. Later, the real killer was identified as a strange and rare volcanic phenomenon associated with the nearby Lake Nyos. Chemical, isotopic, geologic, and medical evidence support the hypothesis that the bulk of gas released was carbon dioxide, which had been stored in the lake's hypolimnion, and that the carbon dioxide was derived from magmatic sources, and there was no significant direct volcanic activity involved. The limnological nature of the gas release suggests that hazardous lakes may be identified and monitored, and that the danger of future incidents can be reduced. Locust infestation. Desert locusts usually live as solitary animals and avoid contact with other members of their species. However, under certain conditions, the insects are forced to cluster together in a confined space and transform from solitary animals into social animals. They multiply, form swarms, and go in search of food together. The reason for this is that the locusts do not find enough food. Weather conditions also contribute to their rapid reproduction, since wet grounds after extreme rainfall provide locusts with ideal breeding conditions. If the locusts go searching for food in swarms, the implications are downright destructive. The desert locusts eat green plants, millet, rice, and grain, among other things. They eat the same amount as their own body weight, for example, about 2 grams every day. Just 1 square kilometer of locusts needs as much food every day as 35,000 people. As soon as the pests have completely devoured the vegetation in an area, they move on. The animals can thus cover up to 150 kilometers in one day. Really disgusting. Blue lava acid lake. Kawa Jan volcano has two of the most unusual occurrences on Earth. The first is an active solfatara that emits hot, flammable sulfurous gases. These ignite as they enter Earth's oxygen-rich atmosphere and burn with an electric blue flame. Some of the gas condenses in the atmosphere to produce flows of molten sulfur that also burn with an electric blue flame. The flames are difficult to see during the day but illuminate the landscape at night. The second occurrence is a 1 kilometer wide caldera lake filled with turquoise blue water. The color of the water is a result of its extreme acidity and a high concentration of dissolved materials. It's the world's largest highly acidic lake with a measured pH as low as 0.5. The cause of its acidity is an inflow of hydrothermal waters charged with gases from a hot magma chamber below. It's also a source for the river Banyupait, resulting in highly acidic and metal-enriched river water, which has a significant detrimental effect on the downstream river ecosystem. Whirlpool. A whirlpool is a body of rotating water produced by opposing currents or a current running into an obstacle. Small whirlpools form when a bath or a sink is draining. More powerful ones in seas or oceans may be termed maelstroms, is the proper term for a whirlpool that has a downdraft. In a narrow ocean straits with fast-flowing water, whirlpools are often caused by tides. Many stories tell of ships being sucked into a maelstrom. Smaller whirlpools appear at river rapids and can be observed downstream of artificial structures such as weirs and dams. Large cataracts such as Niagara Falls produce strong whirlpools. Whirlpools are caused when opposing currents meet or when strong winds blowing over the surface of water alter the direction of currents. The presence of undulating geographical features on a seabed might also result in such water vortexes. We hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to click the like button and subscribe for more interesting videos. Have a nice day!